Everyone can see the slide, right?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, good. नमः सूर्याय शांताय सर्वरोग निवारणे आयुरारोग्य मत्सवर्यम देहि देवः जगतपते. O Lord Surya, ruler of the universe, you are the remover of all diseases, the repository of peace. I bow to you and please bless your devotees with long life, health, and wealth. If we go back, sun salutation or Surya Namaskara is not new for us. If we see the origin of sun salutation, it far back to the earliest era of history, when human beings first became aware of a spiritual power within themselves.
Pinky, sorry to disturb. I think
And
we can see only your first screen. Maybe you are going to the next one, next page.
no, no, I'm not going to the
Okay,
next one. When
okay, sorry, sorry. Yeah.
I'm on the first one only. Okay. Now I have changed the screen.
Okay, yeah,
I'll
this is
change
okay.
it accordingly. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So when human being became aware of the spiritual power within, he started to worship Surya and other gods. But Surya, as considered the Lord of light, who illuminates us, right, who removes our darkness, plays an important role in human life. This awareness is the foundation of yoga. Surya Namaskar can be seen as a form of worship of the sun and all that it represents on the micro or cosmic levels. In yogic terms, this indicates that Surya Namaskara awakens the solar aspects of an individual's nature and releases this vital energy for the development of higher awareness. And if you see, anybody can realize these powers or this energy by the practice of sun salutation each morning. If you do sun salutation with full awareness, with full breathing pattern, you can experience this energy within yourself. Surya Namaskara tradition in ancient India, the great Avatara Ram became the king of solar rays. He was Suryavanshi, right? In the epic Ramayana. And many more evidence we can see in our scriptures, like in Rig Veda, Surya Upanishad, or similarly like Brihad Aryanka Upanishad, Akshar Upanishad. We can see many evidence there. In Rig Veda, the most popular shloka or the prayer you can say, Gayatri Mantra, is devoted to Lord Sun, the the God of light. But what's about the sun salutation of modern time? We don't see any evidence of this sequence of few asanas in our tradition, in our scriptures, or in any our history book, or even not even in our Hatha Yoga text, right? So how this sequence of asanas came into existence? Like if you see in the slide, the name Surya Namaskara is from the Sanskrit word Surya and Namaskara, greeting or salute to the sun, right? The name identifies sun as the soul and the source of our life. Surya Namaskara is a combination of asanas. Basically, it's a combination of 12 asanas. Its root is found in yoga philosophy of Vedic traditions, just like I said, we can see the evidence in Rig Veda or Surya Upanishad or in Aksha Upanishad or and in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. The origin of Surya Namaskara as exercise goes to Samartha Ramdas. He was great follower of Surya and Shri Ram. He was also spiritual guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Actually, he is the one who first started Surya Namaskara. He used to perform around 1200 sun salutations daily. And it is said that Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj also used to practice sun salutation on a daily basis. The modern day sun salutation is founded by King of Andh, King Appa Sahib Patwardhan in 1930s. Then it propagated in north and south. And during the colonialism, when Britishers were there in India, a British reporter, Louis Morgan, took interview of Appa Sahib Patwardhan. Then Appa Sahib told them about modern consultation, its benefits, its how we do perform it, and what we can achieve from it on a physical level, on a spiritual level, or on a pranic level. This was the first time when when the sun salutation, modern time sun salutation, came into existence in a formal way. Right? So the modern sun salutation, these are the asanas, or these are the postures, 12 postures we normally perform in the some yoga schools follow 14 steps, but basically formally it includes 12 postures, in which sevens are different asanas and five are repetitions. So if you go from here, first one is your pranamasanas, then second is your hast uttanasana, third is your pada hastasana, then ashwasanchalanasana, then chaturanga dandasana, or many do parvatasana also. You can either perform this chaturanga dandasana or parvatasana. Then ashtanga namaskar, then bhujanga asana, then adho mukshavanasana, or you can also say parvatasana. Then again, these are the repeated pose now. Ashwasanchalanasana, Padahastasana, Hastuttanasana, and Pranamasana. For level 1, we don't need to memorize these mantras. You can go through these, but it's not compulsory. You can either do it or not. But yes, for level 2, one should go with all these mantras also. Like in the first step, in Namaskar Mudra, we chant the mantra Om Mitraya Nama. The second is Om Ravye Nama, then the Suryaya Nama. Fourth in Ashwasanchalanasana, Om Bhanave Nama. Then Parvatasanam Khagai Nama. Then Ashtanga Namaskar, Om Pushne Nama. Om Hiranyagarbhaya Nama. Then Om Marichaye Nama. Om Adityaya Nama. Om Savitre Nama. Then Om Arkaya Nama. And at the end, Om Bhaskaraya Nama. And for level 2, you should know all these meanings also, the meanings of all those mantras. And for level 1, you don't need to go in such detail. So, as I said, it is a series of 12 physical postures. These alternating backward and forward bending asanas flex and stretch the spinal column and limbs through their maximum range. When the practitioner becomes familiar with all these postures, then he or she should synchronize it with breath. These are the Bees mantras. There are six Bees mantras. We normally do six Beej mantras with for first six steps. Then we repeat those six mantras in next six steps. Those are Ram, Reem, Rom, Ram, Rom, and Raha. For level 2, yes, you need to know these Beej mantras also. And now sun salutation with four chakras. These are also for level 2. Level 1 students don't need to go for chakras. And basically, when we perform sun salutation, we we focus on some particular chakras, or it impacts it all what do you say, all postures have their impact on different chakras. So it's not like that ki one like Tadasana, it's not like that ki it will have impact on Anahata chakra only. It will have impact on other chakras as well, but dominantly it will impact Anahata chakra. That's why we are we we normally take into consideration the main dominating chakras only. Like in Tadasana, it has its impacts on Anahata chakra, the heart chakra, you can say, right? And Urdhva Hastasana, or you can say Hastottanasana, it has its impact on Vishuddhi chakra. Then Pada Hastasana, Swadhisthana chakra. Then Ashwasanchalanasana, it has its impacts on Agnya chakra. Then Parvatasana, throat chakra. Then Ashtanga Namaskar, solar plexus, and Bhujangasana, sacrum chakra or Swadhisthana, or Parvatasana on Vishuddhi, Ashwatsanchalanasana, Agnya, Pada Hastasana, Swadhisthana, Urdhva Hastasana, Vishuddhi, and Tadasana again, Anahat chakra. So for an advanced yogi, when you chant the Bija mantra, or when you focus on on the chakras, you assume or you visualize the chakra and perform Surya Namaskar, you can open the chakras, you can activate them, right? But it should be done under expert guidance only. So let's go to next slide. And for the summary, you can go through these two slides. Pada, it has all uh, postures names, then all mantras names, then the chakras associated with each asana, right? Like this. Then the question arises, how many rounds the practitioner should do, or how many rounds one should do every day. So for this, a beginner shouldn't do more than 12 rounds in a day. He or she should start with 2 rounds of sun salutation, then slowly they should increase the numbers, and they can go up to 12 rounds every day. But advanced students can practice approximately 24 to 54 rounds of sun salutation every day. And in case of any disease, acute disease, or in case of any therapeutic uh, reason, or to purify the body, one can practice 108 rounds of sun salutation every day. But this should be done under the guidance of guru. And when and where can you practice the sun salutation? The ideal time is at sunrise, because at this time the atmosphere is filled with the sun's ultraviolet rays, which are very important for our body. Or it can be done at any convenient time, but the practitioner should be at empty stomach. Ideally, we can take our food around 3 to 4 hours before we practice sun salutation. Okay, and if you see the benefits of it, it warms up the major muscles of the body. It strengthens the core muscles. It regulates the blood circulation throughout the entire body. It massages the internal organs, promote overall health. It also has mental benefits, like it helps to cure anxiety, depression. If you practice sun salutation with gratitude for life in mind, the mental and energetic benefits are endless, right? And one can feel empowered, joyous, and overall serene after practicing and improving your mood. It can improve your mood throughout the day. It is said that it works on all our glands. It helps in hormone. It balances the hormone secretion. That's why hormone called feel good hormone releases after you practice sun salutation. So it improves your mood. Okay, it helps to reduce the anxiety, and you can get rid of depression if you practice it regularly with full awareness. The other benefits are also are here. It strengthens the body, helps cope with insomnia, improves your posture, it improves muscle tone, then improves functions of internal organs, helps relax our mind, improves flexibility, helps burn excess fat, helps build mental focus, improves blood circulation. Actually, if you see the point, helps burn excess fat. If you practice sun salutation on a slow pace, it provides you therapeutic benefits. But if you do it in a fast pace, it works as a cardiovascular workout, and it helps you to burn extra calories then. Suppose if you run for half an hour, and if you do sun salutation for half an hour on a fast pace, basically you can burn equal amount of calories. But there are some contraindications also, as Surya Namaskara has a 12 pose sequence done with the flow of energy with proper breathing, but it requires a certain physical strength for beginners. Ideally, a person who has high BP shouldn't do sun salutation. Why? Because when your heart, when you bend, your heart, your head goes down, goes down, and your heart position is remain up, and your head's position becomes down. So it can increase your or increase your blood pressure. So the person who is suffering with high blood pressure or who is suffering with any cardiac problem shouldn't do sun salutation. First, he should cure his problem. Sun salutation is not advisable for pregnant women, especially after first trimester. Under under a guru's guidance, you can do sun salutation for first trimester, but ideally it's not recommendable. But for last two trim, trimesters, you are not advisable to do sun salutation. Women in menstruation should not do sun salutation. People suffering from in, intestinal tuberculosis shouldn't do it. People suffering with hernia or who has any stomach abdominal surgery or who has any knee or ankle injury should also take care of it when and avoid Surya Namaskara in coronary artery diseases or disorders and heart blood high blood pressure, as I told you earlier, you shouldn't do it. So here we talked about sun salutation in brief.
Yeah, so only additional point what Pinky told. See, from the exam perspective, we need to remember each step, what is type of asana, or name of the asana. Okay, so sometimes question
Yes,
comes up that for the fourth position, please name of the asana, and there will be this one. This could be for L1.
for
And
yes,
yeah,
for level 2 actually chakras also like
chakras.
in
Yeah,
Ashwin Chalanasana, which chakra should we focus on, or we- like this, right? If you go like
correct.
the, and the breathing pattern, what should be the breathing pattern in sun salutation? Normally, when we bend forward or uh, or we uh, what you say we go towards gravity, we should exhale, and when we go against gravity or when we expand our lungs, then we inhale. This should be the breathing pattern in sun salutation. And we should take care of the mantras also, especially level 2 candidates. Yes, any question about it, or shall we move to Shuddhi Kriyas?
Let's move, and then we'll see the question.
Okay. Actually, there are lots of benefits of sun salutation. That, like there are therapeutic benefits. I don't want to go in detail. Actually, we are doing from exam point of view only. But if you see, there are lots of benefits. Like it can help in amending some disorders like acne, boils, anemia, and, poor appetite, fatigue, obesity, or you can say it can improve your digestion, right? It can cure your constipation or kidney problems or sluggish liver, low BP, epilepsy, diabetes. This is really very good in diabetes. Or uh, then there are it can balance our respiratory system, circulatory system, or digestive system, urinary system, nervous system, skin, endocrine system. It can cure our common spinal disorders or strengthen our muscles, helps us to balance properly. So it's a vast subject actually.
I have a question.
Okay, so yes, please.
Yeah, what is the significance of mantras of this Surya Namaskar? Is there any significance of these 12 mantras, or it's just like while doing Surya Namaskar, you should uh, know only? Like,
Yes, there. Actually, if you see the mantras on, these are the different names of Surya, right? We show our gratitude by calling him by different names. But if you see Beej mantras, yes, definitely, Beej mantras have a very significant, they play significant role in our overall health, especially in our spiritual and what do you say, uh, in our spiritual health, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm not sure about.
Yeah. So
I
for
think
the, I can just add. See, for the name of the Surya is like a 12 name of the Surya is more of the gratitude,
yes,
as
different.
Pinky told. For the Beach mantra, the way the Beach mantra is pronounced, Ram, Reem, Rao, Ra.
Yeah,
So the way effectively we pronounce, it has that sound effect. Okay, to go to the mantra yoga, and the sound effect is linked with specific organ and specific chakra. So in notes there is one video. Maybe you can actually go
yeah.
through where they
That's
have
what I was
detailed. Yeah,
checking. Yes,
yeah.
here
There is
it
a
is.
detailed explanation.
No,
It's a 5-10 minutes video. I think I will put up that link also in the group. You go see. So that person has explained
no.
each beach mantra and how that beach mantra is relevant for the specific steps. So it goes to your chakra. Basically, is linked with chakra.
okay, thank you.
Yes, if you see each beach mantra like Ram, it start with Ha and with Ma, right? So basically, in each beach
उधर बैठ
mantra,
जाइए
when we chant different beach mantras, our awareness travel from our Manipur chakra to our Vishuddhi chakra, right? But these are the different. I mean, I can say the reasons. Like in Ram, the awareness goes in a different route, and in Room it goes in different route. That's all I can say right now. So in that video, Dhananjay just referred, uh, the person has cleared all the doubts about these bees mantras. Shall we go
Yeah,
on Shat
right.
Karmas now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what is Shat Karma? Shat means six and karmas means techniques. Six techniques to purify our body. If you go back in Patanjali's time, Patanjali didn't mention any Shat Karmas or any Shuddhi Kriya because we assume that that time people used to be healthy, right? People didn't suffer much with the diseases. But later on, like the lifestyle changed, people started having problems, and Shatkriyas basically came into existence at the time of Hatha Yoga. If you see, because they gave more importance to Shuddhi Kriyas to cleanse the body, because in at the time of Hatha Yoga, the yogis started believing that this body is a vehicle to achieve the ultimate goal of our life. We can't achieve the goal, the liberation, without this body. And to, to achieve that goal, we need to make this body healthy. For that, they invented or they introduced these Shat Karmas. And if you see in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, Yogi Swatamrama said that okay, uh, Shatkarmas are not important for a person who is in good health. These are only for those persons who have dosha imbalance or who has problem, who has any disease, who is not in good health. There is a sutra in chapter 2, shloka, sorry, there is a shloka in chapter 2 in verse, and the verse is 21. मेत्सलेष्माधिकः पूर्वषट्कर्माणि समारचेत अन्यस्तु नाचरेतानि दोषाणां संभावतः. It means when fat or mucus is excessive, Shatkarma should be practiced before pranayama. Others in whom the doshas are balanced shouldn't do them. So basically, Shatkarmas were introduced to cleanse our body so we can do asanas or the sadhanas properly, and we can achieve the Raj Yoga stage or the liberation from, and we can sit in meditative postures for longer time. Because if we are not we don't feel good, we can't sit in meditative positions. We can't do any sadhana. We can't go for, for longer, right? So what in this picture you can see there are different uh, Shuddhi Kriyas, but let's go with one by one. There is another shloka in Hatha Yoga Pradipika, shloka 22 in the same chapter, chapter 2. In this, Yogi Swatavrama mentioned six types of cleansing techniques, like dhotir, basti, tatha neti, त्राटकम नौलिकम तथा कपाल भाति सचेतानि षट्कर्माणि प्रचक्ष्यते. So in this, he mentioned six kriyas like dhoti, the second is basti, then neti, noli, trataka, kapalabhati. These are the six shat kriyas. If you look at a person who's sitting in front of you, if you look at him from top to down, you can see these six shat kriyas are are meant to cleanse each and every body part, uh, each and every body part of human body. Like if you start from the top, the forehead, if you start from forehead, there's kapal bhati, then comes little down at nose, there is neti, then come little more down, then you have sorry, dhoti, right? Then, oh sorry, eyes, I forgot eyes, trataka, then neti, then dhoti, and then Basti. But if you go in a sequence, that is Dhoti, Basti, Niti, Noli, Tratak, and Kapalbhati. Further, he divided Dhoti into four different parts like Antra Dhoti, Dant Dhoti, then Hridhi Dhoti, and Muli Shodhana. Then again, Antra Dhoti is divided into four parts Vatsara, Varisara, Vahinisara, and Bahiskrita. What is Vatsara? Yeah, Vatsara is like we do Palavani, right? Uh, Palavani Kumbhaka, Palavani Pranayam. We inhale air from our mouth. We make the m- uh, we can make our mouth as a beak and suck the air in, uh, and then the air makes pressure in our abdomen and helps us to cleanse the waste. Then the second is Varisara. Varisara is a modern time Shankh Prakshalan. In last slide, we these are the this is Varisara Dhoti, right? In which one has to follow five steps, five asanas to cleanse the body. The first is this Tadasana, then Tiryak Tadasana, then Kachokrasana, then Tiryak Bhujangasana, and at the last it was mm, in which you sit in squat position. What do you call? If anybody knows the name of that asana, please
This is
let me know.
this is just like Shank Prakshalan.
Yes, Shankh Prakshalan. What was the last step in which we sit in squat position and then touch our one knee with alternate toes, right? It is Kakasana or something, Malasan kind of, right? So we follow these five steps in Varisara, or you can say Shankh Prakshalan. And then the third one is, sorry, let me just, is Vainisara. The Vainisara is kind of Agnisar Kriya. Okay. It is called Vainisar or Agnisar, you can say. Then the Bahiskrita. Bahiskrita is rectum cleansing. Correct. Then Danta Dhoti. It is also for divided. We had a question from Danta Dhoti this time, and we had a question from at Varisara also. So Danta Dhoti, it's further divided into four parts: Dant, Jiva, Karna Dhoti, Karnarandhra, or Kapalarandhra. Then Hridhi Dhoti. Hridhi Dhoti can be done with Dant and is a catheter, is a stick. We use a stick. We put it in mouth and let it go down to our stomach, and that way we cleanse the mucus or the impurities from our stomach. Then the Vamana dhoti, it's kind of kunjal. Then Vastra dhoti, in which we uh, take a strip around 4 inch. It's 4 angul wide strip. It should be around 7 to 8, I think, centimeters wide and around 1.5 meter long strip. And we eat it, and then slowly we take it out and remove all the impurities from our esophagus and the stomach. Then at the end, it's Mul Shodhana. In Mul Shodhana, like in according to Hatha Yoga Pradipika, yogis used to use their middle finger to yes, they used to use their middle finger to clean the anus, and according to Grin Samhita, the yogis used to use turmeric root. Because of its antibiotic property. It used to be considered good for Mula Shodhana. Then if we go for Basti, there are two type of Bastis, Jala Basti and Sukshma Basti. It's the Jal or Sthala Basti, right?
It is dull.
Sthal, yeah, it should be Sthal Basti.
Hmm.
Jal Basti and Sthal Basti. Jal Basti is
So it is
basically
Jalbasti is also called as
it's
Shushka Basti, but Shushka Basti.
Shushka Basti.
Shushka, not
Okay,
yeah, Shushka. It is also an
yeah,
alternative name. Yeah.
with air. That we do with air.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Jal Basti basically is done with water. It's enema, modern time enema that we do with water, and Suksha Basti is done with only advanced practitioners do this Thalabasti. It is done with air. Then Neti are basically of two types, Neti and Sutra Neti, but there are many more types also. Like one can do it with dugdha, like milk or grihita or ghee, and they can use an in Hatha Yoga. People used to do use many other things also for Neti. Then Noli, Vamana Noli, Dakshina Noli, Madhyama Noli, and Noli Chalana. Noli is basically, according to Hatha Yoga Pradipka, it is the best Shat Kriya. It is the practice to control the rectus abdomini muscles. Normally, in this Kriya, we voluntarily can move our abdominal muscles. So, like Dakshina Noli, when we move our abdominal muscles to the right, it's called Dakshina Noli. When we move them to the left, it's called Vamadhoti. Oh, sorry, Vamanoli. And when we squeeze or uh, when we move them in the middle, it's called Madhyama Noli. And Noli Chalana is just like you have seen Baba Ramdev, right? It's his favorite Kriya. He always move his abdominal muscles. The Noli Chalana is moving all the abdominal muscles from clockwise, counterclockwise. Then Tarataka. Tarataka is also of two types, Bahya Tarataka and Antar Tarataka. In Bahya Tarataka, we can use a candle, a light, any deity, idol, or anything. I mean, a bindu, anything you can use. And in Antar Tarataka, we mainly focus internally on either on our chakra or especially on Agnya chakra. We mainly focus in between our eyebrows. We close our eyes and focus inside. That is called Antratrataka. Then Kapalabhati. For level one, we don't need to worry about these three types of Kapalabhati, but for level two, yes, in Grand Samhita, the Yogi Grand mentioned three types of Kapalabhati, like Vat Karma, Vyut Karma, and Shit Karma. In Vat Karma, it's just like we do uh, that the basic form of Kapalbhati, right? In Vyut Karma, I think we suck the water from our nose and take it out from our mouth. And in Shit Karma, we drink the water or suck the water from our mouth and take it out from our nose. I think I'm right in this. Dhananjay, do you think it's the same way, right?
Yes, in text it is right.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Pradhan Mukhi.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so basically I'll give you one tip. Okay, how to remember this. See, Vata karma is what is like your ear. Okay, the breathing. Okay,
Yes.
youth karma, yeah, youth karma is like your water, but youth karma is like a water, nose and mouth. So you're taking the water from the nose and actually pulling out from your mouth. Okay,
Yep.
and sheath karma, okay, you are sorry, actually youth karma you're taking from the nose, okay, and
Nose,
coming out
nose
the
and
yeah, yeah, coming out from the
mouth.
mouth. And sheath karma, remember sheath Shitli Shitkari. Typically, we actually take that air, okay, in our one
Exactly.
just like
Exactly.
exactly you're taking instead of air, you're taking the water, and you're taking the water from your mouth and taking out from your nose. So that way, you can actually remember.
Yes.
It's only for L2. I think L1 guys should not worry about this.
Yes. Only L2 or L3 candidates should know about this. And only I think in Grind Samhita Yogi, Grind, Rishi Grind mentioned this. In Hatha Yoga, Pradipika, I don't think uh, Rama has mentioned about these three types of Kapalabhati. So these are uh, okay. Uh, Normally, you can get a question like which one of these Shat Kriyas is most important one according to Hatha Yoga Pradipika or Giran Samhita. So Noli is considered the most important Kriya. You can remember that. We don't need to worry about Shat Kriyas and Chakras, especially level 1 students. Which chakra? I don't think we need to go through it, right?
No
And
need. Actually, it's mainly for L2 and above. Even other Panchakarma difference and also for only additional knowledge.
yes, so like dhoti works on our upper body, in esophagus, throat, and stomach area. Basti is colon cleansing. Like I told you, I mentioned it's kind of Shankprakshalan, right? Whole digestive system. And then neti is for nose, head, and air passes. Basically, neti is considered ENT practice. It is good for all our ENT diseases. And then noli, intestines, liver, kidney, pancreas, trataka, eyes, eyebrow center. Then kapalabhati, head, nose, ear, sinuses, and lungs, abdomen. Then agnisar, abdomen. W- Why agnisar or why noli is important? Because they basically balance our manipuri chakra or our samana vayu, right? You have done some, you might have done different kinds or different kind of vayus, like five vayus in our body. Okay. So basically these kriyas help us to balance our manipuri chakra or the samana vayu. Samana vayu is also considered the most important vayu in our body. So, and then difference between panchkarma and shatkarmas. We don't need to go through these because these are out of syllabus for us. But for general knowledge, we can just take a look. Like Shatkriyas, if you see, performed by normal healthy person having strength and willpower. But Panchkarma is basically from Ayurveda point of view, right? And Shatkarmas are basically from yoga point of view. Then in Panchkarma gives mainly to patients and weak persons as therapy. Then Shatkarmas, we need determination, intelligence, and effort is required for its practice. Kriyas require the help of air, water, and some minor appliances like piece of cloth for vastra, dhoti, and rubber uh, catheter or sutran for neti. And then person has to do it itself. Higher brain centers are required to act for this practice. And here's a learning effect. Yes, one learn many things from it. He cleans his bodies. He learns how to keep himself healthy and all. Here is no concept of Purva Karma and Uttar Karma as such. But if you see the Panch Karmas, no individual effort to perform Panch Karma by the patient is required. Irritating substances or medicine is given to achieve the desired karma by the patient. Some assistant or medical person is required for these karmas. There is no involvement of higher brain and even after repeated administration. So you can go through this table. I don't think we need it. The Shat karmas, as mentioned in classical texts, Garand Samhita. Okay, there you can get a question like what is the difference between Hatha Yoga Pradipika's Shatkarmas and Garand Samhita's Shatkarmas? Can anybody tell me what is the difference between the two? Anyone? See, we have a chart in front of us. We have a slide, and we have a sutra from Rishi Grenda. Dhotir Basti Tatha Niti Nolikam Tratakam Kapalabhati. Right? And if you see the we don't have from let me see. Yes, here is Hat Yoga Pradipika. If you see the sutra, see the table. Dhoti Basti Niti Tratak Nauli Kapalbhati. And go back. Dhoti Basti Niti Nauli Tratak Kapalbhati. So, what is the difference now? Can you just see?
Placement of that kriya is different.
Nauli,
Yeah, Noli and
exactly.
that.
And Trataka.
Yeah,
That is the only difference, and many times we get a question over it. Ki what is the difference between the Shatkriyas of Hatha Yoga Pradipika and Garand Samhita? So that is the only difference.
and
Okay,
one more
the
difference is
sequence.
this ki Kapal Bhati, Grand Saita, he is describing three Kapal Bhati.
Yes, yeah, three
Ma'am,
types
one
of
question is,
Kapalbhatis.
yeah, I have one question that in Noli Kriya, that hernia patient can do or not?
Hernia patient shouldn't do any kriya except
Okay,
uh, his guru or an expert has advised him to do,
right.
right?
Okay,
So that's why, see, when we were discussing doing this table, na, that's why the very first point of Shat Kriya is performed by normal, healthy person,
yeah, right. Okay,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So, is it okay? Any question on Shat Kriyas? In Grand Samhita, Maharishi Garand has mentioned about Shatkarmas as the first limb of yoga. That is
Yes.
also a point in Hatha Yoga
Okay.
Pradipika. Yogi Swatam Rama says it's not important for healthy persons, right? They can directly go for pranayama and other mudra bandha and nada nusandhana, etc. But Rishi Grant made it very clear. No, everyone shall go through the Shat karmas first. Then only they
Hmm.
can proceed. Okay, that is
Right.
also a difference between both texts. Yes, any question, please?
Thank you.